They are part of the generalized response of the capitalist class to the organic crisis of the system here and globally. And I think this crisis is evident in the figures that we've shared in a number of meetings. I think primarily on the fact that the profits are falling because of overcapacity and overproduction in a number of sectors. And I think the most sharpest and the brutal manifestation of it globally is the blood wars for markets that is happening in West Asia. I mean, the genocide in Gaza, the expansion of the genocide, and in West Bank and in Lebanon, and all of that. The war in Ukraine, and because the struggle for the markets. But it's also reflected in a global trade war that is in full swing in this country, threatening a slaughter and devastation of number of industries that are dependent on trade with the US, that of course, for which number of South African products are given free access, if you like, to the US market under AGOA and policies and so on. And I think, from the point of view of the capitalist class, as Comrade John has pointed out, they have concluded that the reason that there is no investment is not because of this overcapacity, it's not because of this glut in the market, but it's because of course, the high cost of labor. And this is linked, therefore, with what we have had around. I think they call it Operation Vulindle, right? So, insofar as the labor market is concerned, what they want to do is to attack the conditions of the workers, the rights of the workers, the power of the trade union, much more directly with a view to lowering the cost of production. Now, but it's not limited to these attacks on these rights. We've also seen, under this so-called Operation Vulindle, the privatization of Eskom being accelerated under GNU. They are also now privatizing Transnet, just as they are privatizing post office, a number of public services, which would mean just at the time when workers' conditions, wages are falling, benefits are being taken away, we are going to have the cost of living crisis being even worse. Because most of these privatized public services means workers will be paid more in tariffs for these services, as we have seen with electricity, which, as a result of privatization, from 1996, we now have a situation where electricity tariffs have increased by 1,710%, but it's not just electricity. Water by 2,100%, and this is before even the later increases. But you will remember that the services are not just costing us in terms of what we pay directly in tariffs. They themselves are also a cost of production. And they, of course, find their way into the cost of everything else, including goods and services that we also consume as a working class. Comrades, this attack must also be linked again with the austerity measures that are reflected in the budget that was passed a few days ago. That budget has, of course, cut spending in number of important social services. There's also no provision in that budget for financing of the SRD grant going into the future. That budget is going on. But also, we know that they've increased value-added tax by 0.5%, and the plan is to increase it by another 0.5% next year. This takes place at the same time as they've been the taxation on the corporate profits, which under apartheid were over 50%, and of course, they are down to 27% at the present moment. As I said, and I think Comrade John pointed out, their view is that by all of these attempts, they want to facilitate investment because the economy has been stagnant, I think, for over 15 years now. And this, Comrade, is a long-term trend that I think reflects the organic character of this crisis. I mean, you look at Eastern.
Point of order, please. This item is not even on the agenda. And I'm not sure on what basis this comrade is asked to make this intervention. It's not on the agenda.
Okay.
When you started the meeting, you said we are not going to have speechifying here. We've got a big job to try and resist this thing. Can we please get back to the agenda?
I'll do that, Comrade. As I was summarizing, it is correct that we are trying to have a brief meeting. But the point I'm just saying is that we should not just look at these attacks in isolation, but attacks on services, attacks on every aspect of working class life. Because I think if we plan this movement on the basis of the struggles in the workplaces, we're only going to get weak. And I think we're not going to be able to win. Precisely at the time when the unions are doing weekend, we have those 500,000 members in 2022, and I think we need to say, how do we bring communities, how do we bring the youth movement, how do we bring other sections of the working class united movement to resist and to fight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.